Started the recording already. So hello and welcome everyone. Those of you can't, are not able to join us today, so we're just recording the event, and later we will upload it on our website so you can access and learn more about SOS UK and other sustainability issues. First of all, thanks a lot. Grace for accepting our invitation and joining the event and coming here and talking on sustainability and what SOS UK is doing and how our Greenwich students can get involved with this. And thanks Maria as well for joining. So I'll just pass over to Grace, and if you like to introduce yourself and then start on the topic, that will be great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Absolutely. So big thank you for having me. It's fantastic to be taking part this week in talking about sustainability at Greenwich and wider across the UK and the world, with COP26 happening at the moment. So in this session, I'm just going to give you a bit of an introduction to SOS UK and our work, and the types of kind of student activism we are supporting through our work as a charity. So an introduction to me. I'm a project manager at SOS UK, and my background was in international relations and politics. I studied at the University of Lincoln, and while I was a student, I got really interested in issues of student welfare, which led me to learning more about social justice and in turn the climate crisis. So I got really involved in climate action on my campus, and ended up running in the Students' Union elections in my third year. So I was elected as the Vice President of Welfare and Community, and I worked to embed environmental activism in the Students' Union and lobbied the university to declare a climate emergency. And that kind of led me on to the job that I do now. So after I left my role at the Students' Union, I started with SOS UK, and over the 2 years that I've been here, I've been project managing our Green Impact and Student Switch Off programmes at universities, students' unions, NHS hospitals and other organisations around the UK, but predominantly around London and the south of England, as that's where I'm based. And I'm also kind of working on our Homes Fit for Study work, which is about tackling fuel poverty in student accommodation. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. And I'm also organising the Students' Sustainability Summit, which is happening later this month. So if you're interested in sustainability, I'd really recommend getting a ticket and coming along. It's a 2-day event and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I can share all the details to that along with the slides to this presentation at the end. So that's a little introduction to me, but what actually is SOS UK? So SOS stands for Students Organising for Sustainability UK, which is a bit of a mouthful, so we like to abbreviate to SOS UK, which is very apt given the climate crisis that we find ourselves in. We're part of the NUS family, so the National Union of Students established our charity towards the end of 2019 in response to the climate emergency so that we could move further and faster on our sustainability work. NUS has been championing sustainability work and issues for over 20 years, so we're really using all of that experience and running further and faster with it as our own charity now. We have 3 main work streams. So we work to encourage, engage, inspire and empower students to learn for and lead on sustainability. We aim to embed sustainability in all areas and all forms of formal education. So no matter what you're studying, you're coming out the other side with a knowledge of sustainability. And we aim to make sustainability more inclusive. So at the moment, the sustainability sector is the second least diverse behind farming. You can kind of understand with farming how farms are passed down through generations and they tend to stay in families. But the sustainability sector, that just doesn't make any sense. So we're doing a lot of work to diversify the sector with our Race for Nature scheme and our decolonising and decarbonising education and sustainability work. So that's a little bit of an introduction to us as a charity, and I'm really excited to kind of talk you through some of the work that we do and how you as students can get involved. There's so many opportunities for you to kind of progress your sustainability activism with us. So yeah, thank you for inviting me to talk today. All of our work is backed up by data showing that students' concern about climate change continues to increase. You can see this data here that we've been collecting since 2014 on how concerned, if at all, are you about climate change. These figures have remained relatively constant, if not steadily increasing, despite things like the crash in the jobs market, the rise in tuition fees and cost of living. The concern around climate change remains constant and continues to grow. So you can see that in 2019, we've peaked at 91% of students agreeing that they're concerned about climate change. So our work is completely driven by this student demand for action and education for sustainability. 88% of students say they agree their place of study should actively incorporate and promote sustainable development. 80% would like to see sustainable development actively incorporated and promoted through all courses. So at the moment, you might say that climate change and sustainability are quite siloed in specific subjects like sciences, engineering and geography, perhaps. But in a world shaped by climate change, all courses need to have an understanding of sustainability and how we can tackle climate problems. And then that final statistic there, 59% of students say sustainable development is something they would like to learn more about. And you can check out all of this research on our website if you're interested. And yeah, as I mentioned, that demand has remained constant over time. So my university or college should actively incorporate and promote sustainable development. Those figures have stayed relatively constant from 2010, 11, all the way through to 2018-19. We're currently running our sustainability skills survey at the moment for this year, so check it out on our website if you'd like to be part of the next wave of this research. And this goes beyond students' time in education, and it's impacting on what students want to do with their careers and the jobs they'd like to do. So the question here was, assuming all other factors are equal, which option would you choose? So the first option is a position with a starting salary of £3,000 lower than average in a company with a strong environmental and social record. And the other is a position with a starting salary of £3,000 higher, but in a company with a poor environmental and social record. So you can see that students are kind of actively choosing to have a bit of a lesser salary, but to be working for a company that aligns with their social and environmental values. And we see this demand at all levels of education. So here we've got some statistics on pupils in primary and secondary schools in England. Oh, you can hear the bell tower going. Sorry about that. So the first statistic there is 68% are interested in learning more about the environment. 86% think all schools and colleges should be doing things to help the environment, and 85% think all schools and colleges should be encouraging and helping pupils like them to do things to help the environment. There's a quote here from Chuck Hopkins, the chair of UNESCO. 6% of people attend university, but they take up 80% of the leadership positions. Which really shows you the scope that we have for changing our world if we incorporate sustainable development into our education. It's university educated people who are going out into the world and making poor decisions for people and planet. So our universities and our educational institutions have a responsibility to be educating graduates who are part of the solution rather than part of the problem. Our programmes focus on three main spheres: the curriculum, the campus, and the community. So the curriculum, this is where we want all students to leave education as part of the solutions to our social, economic, and environmental challenges. That's why we work to get sustainable development into the curriculum for every student across every discipline. the campus. So this is the physical environment that you're walking around in when you're at university. So by making sustainability part of everyday life across universities and colleges, we support students in adopting responsible behaviours which last long beyond their time in education. So this really kind of links into our work in halls of residence and with students' unions and on campuses around positive behaviour change for sustainability. And then community. All students' unions should be hubs of sustainability at the heart of their wider community. We help students to thrive as global citizens, as active participants in society and democracy, and as future leaders on sustainability. So we have a wide array of programmes, projects and campaigns as a charity. There's always new ones popping up all the time. So since I created these slides, we have more projects and campaigns starting. And you can see a full list on our website, which is just SOS-UK.org. I'd really recommend checking it out. But you can see a handful here of some of our flagship campaigns. So the Student Switch Off focuses on halls of residence and energy saving and climate action in halls. Green Impact is a bespoke sustainability programme for staff at universities and other organisations to give them kind of the tools to address sustainability impacts in their working areas. Responsible Futures is our framework for incorporating ESD into the curriculum. Student Eats is all around sustainable food enterprises on campus. And Teach the Future, you can see there is our completely youth-led campaign for education reform in the UK. We had a really exciting announcement today at COP from the Education Secretary that there's going to be an overhaul of the curriculum and climate change is going to be made a much more kind of core principle and a kind of key focus of the curriculum in April. So that's really exciting, a huge win for the campaign. And lots of other great things here as well, which I can talk more about as we go through. So how can you get involved with our work as a student and take some action with us? So you could use your dissertation, your placement or your project as a force for good. We're always doing these things as part of our degree, placements, research projects, dissertations, but through our For Good platform, and we link you up with environmental and sustainability and community organisations so that your research project can actually help them to kind of inform their work and increase the sustainability of their practice. So you can conduct some research, do a placement or do a project or even a dissertation on a subject which will then have real world implications. I really recommend checking it out if you're thinking of what you're going to do your dissertation on. It's just the For Good platform, so forgood.nus.org.uk. Join our free food growing network. It's completely free and you'll receive the following benefits. So access to exclusive resources and discounts, including 90% off Charles Downs' No Dig online course. Chances to take part in closed competitions and opportunities to win free tickets to our annual conference. It's a really supportive programme and you can kind of join other students across the UK who are doing sustainable food enterprises on their campuses. So you can check out more on the SOS-UK website, where we have a new sustainable food guide, which is a really, really brilliant resource. I don't think I will be able to play this video. Let me just stop sharing my screen and I will find the video and start sharing it again separately. So Banking with Who is our new campaign around educating students on the sustainability and the ethics of the bank that they are banking with. And we've created this really fantastic video with Larissa, who is the current president of the National Union of Students, around the sustainability of our banks. And I would love to show you the video, so fingers crossed it will work. My computer's just being so slow. Never mind, I can send the link after, or I can even put it in the chat here. Yeah, that will be better. So lots of our big banks that you might have accounts with are investing in fossil fuels and things like arms and weaponry and things like that. So we've just launched this new campaign specifically aimed at students who are getting their first bank account, but it really goes for everyone around considering the ethics and sustainability of the bank that they are choosing. So you might like to check that out. There's lots of fantastic resources there. Let me share my screen again. There we go. We're back. So that's Banking with Who. We also have the Invest for Change campaign. If you just follow the link for the Banking with Who and work back, you'll see Invest for Change as an option there as well. This builds off the back of our very successful divestment work at NUS, calling on UK universities to divest their endowments from fossil fuels. We now want universities to go even further, so not only to move their assets out of fossil fuels and harmful investments, but to put them into investment pots that have positive benefits for people and planet. So things like renewable energies, affordable housing for all, food systems, and things like that. So really recommend checking out Invest for Change. There's lots of resources on our website about how you can advocate at your university for Invest for Change investment policies. UK universities have a huge amount of money in endowments, so it's a huge thing that we can mobilise for positive change in the world. And yeah, you can email your university finance director. So yeah, UK universities have over £15 billion that is frequently invested against the interests of students and the world that they will graduate into. So as part of this campaign, you can email your university senior management to ensure their investments are funding environmental and social justice solutions and engaging with investments to change corporate practices. We have a template and also lots of resources on the website. And we can come and run workshops on the campaign as well, if that would be helpful. You can even take AGM action. So lots of universities hold investments in companies known as shares. Anyone who invests in a company has a say over how the company is run. So we're calling on universities to use their power as shareholders to actively engage and vote at company AGMs. So yeah, this year campaigns are calling for HSBC to stop funding fossil fuels at its AGM. And you can see since the Paris Agreement, Barclays and HSBC, two of Europe's biggest fossil fuel financiers, have funneled over $255 billion into the coal, oil and gas sectors. So yeah, you can call on your university to move their money out of these practices and into positive ones instead. Yeah, you can support climate education. So Teach the Future is our completely youth-run campaign. It was started by students in primary and secondary schools across the UK, but is now, over 100 volunteers strong, with students at universities, secondary schools and primary schools across the UK, all mobilising and organising remotely. It's an inclusive, well-organised and persistent campaign which is calling to improve the education in this country on climate and the climate emergency and ecological crises. What can you do to get involved? You can follow them on Twitter, you can sign the petition on their website, you can write to your MP and ask them to support broad climate education. There's a fantastic template on the website. It's really, really easy. You just kind of put in your postcode and it works out who your MP is. You just kind of select the letter you'd like to send and it's all kind of done for you. So it's super, super easy to do. Start having conversations about sustainability in the curriculum in your school or in your faculty. Do you feel like you're learning anything about how your subject relates to climate change and how your subject has sustainability woven through it? Talk to your academics about it and see where there's room for growth. And you can also volunteer on the campaign if you'd like to get more involved. They do really fantastic work, like you can see there the projections on Parliament, going out to protests. They're always having meetings with UK ministers and MPs and other kind of influential people. So it's an exciting time to get involved. You can support the SDG teaching. So the Sustainable Development Goals are 17 global goals set out by the United Nations, which need to be achieved by 2030. So we're running out of time to achieve all of these goals. You can see the goals include things like no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, and much more. They're a fantastic starting point for thinking about the breadth of sustainability. Very often when we kind of think about sustainability or we see it portrayed in the media, there's a lot of imagery of melting ice caps and polar bears, and obviously that is a very negative impact and outcome of climate change. But it's also about people, and the most affected people and places in the world are the ones who have least contributed to the causes of the climate crisis. So the SDGs kind of help us to think about the breadth and all of the social issues that intersect with sustainability. They aren't perfect. They have gained a lot of critique for not having more of a focus on human rights. But like anything that's agreed at the international level, a lot of compromises were made. And as I said, they're a good starting point. So every year we run a campaign called the Global Goals Teach-In, where we encourage educators to include the UN Global Goals for Sustainable Development in their teaching and learning across all stages of education and all disciplines. And students can support the campaign by sharing your experiences of sustainable education, letting us know why you want to see more sustainability included in your teaching and learning, and encouraging the teaching staff at your institution to take part and pledge to be part of this campaign. So the details on the 2022 campaign will be released very soon, but you can email my colleague Rachel if you'd like to discuss the campaign before then, or check out all of the details on our website. What else can you do? You can look up your institution's carbon target. So SOS-UK, alongside NUS, UCU and People and Planet, are calling for all UK universities and colleges to publicly commit to being net zero emissions for scopes 1, 2 and 3 by 2030 to tackle the climate emergency and ecological crises. So you can check out your institution's target and how it levels up against all of the others at carbontargets.uk. You can register your interest in the campaign via the website, and we can keep you up to date on events and updates and ways to get involved. And you can see kind of a little screenshot from the University of Lincoln there as an example of what the some of the information that the website can tell you. You can read up about the links between sustainability and intersectionality. Inclusivity is central to sustainability, but it is acknowledged that some sustainability campaigns and initiatives do not meet the needs of liberation groups and often fail to address interlinking issues such as colonialism. This is something that NUS has encountered in the past. So I remember maybe 3 or 4 years ago, they ran a campaign called The Last Straw, which was very inaccessible and exclusive to disabled people who rely on bendy straws to be out in our, students' unions and on campuses. So that was an example of how that campaign didn't kind of listen to the right groups and involve liberation groups in their thinking and in their campaigning. So there's been a lot of learning over the last few years, and we've grouped resources into each liberation group to help organise them and guide you. But several resources draw on the intersections across these liberation groups. So you can view all of this on the NUS Decolonise Education Library and our Sustainability and Intersectionality Resource Hub on our website. really fantastic resource for you to do some learning before jumping into running a sustainability campaign or initiative on your campus. And you can listen to our Liberating Sustainability podcast. So in each episode of the podcast, field leaders from student liberation movements and academia deconstruct the exclusivity of sustainability activism and education. Episodes cover sexuality, disability, gender, class and race. And you can listen on Spotify and all other good podcast platforms. And as it's COP26 going on at the moment, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about our COP26 Action Week. We've got a competition running at the moment with the chance to win an ethical food box worth £15 or £35. At COP, we really want the UK to commit to ambitious climate action. So share an action that you're taking too by commenting on one of our social media competition posts. So we've posted this graphic on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Perhaps it could be that you're looking to learn more about sustainability, raise awareness, lobby for changes, or carry out practical actions in your own life. There'll be one individual winner and one group winner who'll be picked at random from across all of our social media accounts. And you can share a photo as well. So if you'd like to share your own photo and tag us, you'll get a double entry. We're also going to be holding a webinar on the 30th of November, which is titled What Happened at COP26? So we'll be discussing some of the outcomes of the conference, what it all means, how it can inform our activism going forward, and share some examples of the on-the-ground action happening across our programmes. So register on our website, on the events page, and come along if you're interested. So that's brought me to the end of my slides. Thank you so much for listening. And I suppose if there are any questions at this stage, I can answer those questions.
Thanks a lot. Grace, it was really amazing presentation. And if Maria, Bella, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Or you can type on the chat sections if you're not able to talk.
I've shared the slides with you, so you'll be able to kind of have those as a resource to refer back to. And if anyone wants to get in touch with me, my details are on the SOS-UK website.
Yeah, so I have some questions. So what's the best way to get involved with this project you're running right now? Does students need to email on a general emails, or is there any particular or specific emails or contact details on the websites?
Absolutely. So let me post the link to our newsletter into the chat box. This is the best way to stay up to date with our opportunities. It's not a spammy newsletter, don't worry. It goes out once a month with opportunities, events going on, key things from across the movement that you might like to learn about. So I really recommend signing up. You can follow us on social media. It's just SOS-UK Charity on pretty much everything. See our coverage of COP26, all the events that we have going on, and how you can get involved.
I have another question regarding the dissertation help. So for which courses actually SOS-UK will help students? Is there any specific courses that will provide help for these courses or not for?
It's anyone, absolutely anyone can kind of get involved with turning elements of their formal education into a force for good. So if you are doing a dissertation and you're studying architecture or you're studying finance, there might be an opportunity on the For Good platform for you that could link you up with an organisation so that your research project or your dissertation will be something they can, actively implement in their work, which is really exciting. I'll put the link to the For Good platform in the chat as well.
Yeah, I see Bella asked one question. Does SOS do any work in relation to eco-anxiety?
Yeah, so this is something I'm particularly passionate about and kind of experiencing quite a lot at the moment with COP26 going on. And I kind of work with Student Minds, who are the student mental health charity, who and we're trying to kind of link up a little bit there on things like eco-anxiety. We also work in collaboration with an organisation called Force of Nature, who do a lot around eco-anxiety. Clover Hogan, the founder of Force of Nature, is on the kind of adult advisory board for our Teach the Future campaign, so it informs a lot of that work. And they're also going to be running a session at the Student Sustainability Summit later this month. So I'll put Force of Nature's website into the chat and you can check them out. They do some really fantastic work. So they're doing a session at the summit called Anxiety to Agency Classroom. So definitely get your tickets to the summit if you'd like to learn more about that. The summit Eventbrite is just here. It's a 2-day event and there's just loads of amazing workshops and speakers who are going to be there.
This sounds really amazing. I'll put this on my social media as well, and if there's anyone interested, hopefully they'll get in touch with you. So for this event, we had one part of the event was quiz event, quiz competition. So since we are 3 attendees here, so I think maybe we can do it and learn a little bit more about sustainability and all the stuff. So how about Bella and Myra, are you interested to take part in the quiz competition now? Or if you can just write on the chat section, that will be all right. Sure, yeah, that's great. And yeah, that's perfect. So before we start the quiz, we have a award or prize for the quiz as well. So we'll provide the University of Greenwich branded green hoodie, not this color, green color, but the same things. It will be written University of Greenwich on top of the hoodie. So yeah, Grace, if you can start the quiz, I think we are ready to learn more. Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't prepared the quiz questions because I wasn't sure what platform we were going to be using.
Okay, no problem then. Apologies, really sorry. Yeah, really sorry, guys. So we had to just leave the quiz section then, and if you have any other question on in the meantime, please feel free to ask Vela, or if you want to talk about anything else regarding sustainability and what Student Union or Greenwich Student Union is doing at Greenwich, so you can get in touch with me. I can provide you more information. So we are also taking part in the Green Impact as well. And this week we are running Green Week in collaboration with the university. So we had done quite few events. So on the first day we had an event on unsustainable consumption and how it's really hard to avoid. And also we have talked a little bit about IPCC report, which is a report on climate change and all the stuff. And so on the event there was 2 keynote speakers. One is environmental scientist Connor Walsh, who is teaching in the NRI, National Resource Institute at Medway campus, and also Claire Coot, who is also program leader for climate change course over there. And then on the second, we also had a litter picker event on the day. And on the second day, we had a circular textile, which is bringing your old clothes and take another clothes or swapping the clothes from us. So some of the students also organizing this. That's a really great initiative. And on the third day, we had again some litter picker event, and also we have a garden in Avery Hill campus, and we had an event over there, edible garden eating something. So we went there, some of the people, green people who cares about sustainability, and we have some fruit trees over there. So we just picked up some of the fruits and have it, and had discussion regarding sustainability and all the stuff. And on the fourth day we launched Eco Team. So Eco Team is a student and staff network at Greenwich. So I think it started a few years earlier, and now we're continuing every year. So basically we meet every week on Thursday from 4 to 5 at Dreadnought building, and then we talk about sustainability and all the things happening around and how we can implement those stuff at Greenwich as well, and how we can um, educate Greenwich students or make them aware or help them if anyone wants to get involved with sustainability and any other stuff. And today is the final day, and so earlier at 11:30 we had an event on climate finance or green finance and COP26. So one of my lecturer from economics department, so she's associate professor of economics, so she gave a talk on green finance and COP26 as well. And this is the last event with Grace SOS-UK, which is as Grace explained, Student Organising Sustainability UK. It's part of NUS and National Union of Students. So yeah, so that was all, and it was quite really engaging week. A lot of students came forward to learn more about sustainability, who cares about the world and the future generation as well. That's really great to see. And at the final point, thanks a lot, Grace, again for accepting our invitation and taking your time to talk with us. And I'll put this recording on our website, and also the slides you have provided, and also all the slides and materials we'll put on the website. So if you like to have a look later, or if you like to share with your friends or anyone else, that will be really great. And thanks a lot again. And if anyone else have anything else to say before we leave, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I just wanted to say, action is the antidote to despair. So get involved as much as you can, and we can make real change together on our campuses and show, what society could be by making change, on our campuses and in our own communities. So thanks so much for coming along today. It's been great to kind of tell you a bit about our work, and I hope I see you coming along to stuff soon.